Greetings, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Everything Went Black. Karl Haikara joins us this week for an episode of Darkness Weaves. We're wrapping up the Kane novel by the title of Darkness Weaves this week. We have a few more Kane short stories, and then the Darkness Weaves collaboration will come to a close. But don't worry, we've got a bunch of other projects lined up. We'll be returning with some more discussion of weird fiction, dark fantasy, that sort of stuff. If you like Everything Went Black, I urge you all to check out the other podcasts included in the Horsemen of the Podcasting Apocalypse Cabal. Kicking things off every other Monday, we have Brandon Legion's Horror Wolf 666. Brandon and I are doing a collaboration called The Black Lodge, where we dive deep into Twin Peaks. Each month, we switch off which podcast hosts the episode. Up on Tuesday, we have Jackie Smith's Into the Necrosphere, the greatest extreme music podcast in the land. Wednesday is a double shot day. Of course, we've got Everything Went Black, but we also have Iblis Manifestations. Thursday, also a double shot day. Thursday is Necro Thursday for the Necromaniacs Horror Podcast, but it's also day one of Soul Knocks. This week's co-host Karl Haikara is the host of that show for all things dark, esoteric, and sinister. Friday, Spitball Media comes at you with a irreverent pop culture show. Saturday is a day off, so go out, enjoy yourself, take some downtime, because on Sunday, the sinister minister Karl Haikara returns for day two of Soul Knocks. And as you know, we are doing this Darkness Weaves collaboration where we talk about the work of Karl Edward Wagner. If you are a fan of this show, I thank you all. It means a lot to me. This is a labor of love, largely. But if you want to step it up a little bit with your support, aside from sharing it and liking all the episodes, you can join the Everything Went Black Patreon. First off, straight away, I'd like to thank new members Joe and Derek for joining the team. For as little as $1 a month, you can get access to the bonus content. For $5 a month, you get access to the bonus content plus early access to all the shows. And for $25 a month, you can become a sponsor, or you can promote pretty much anything. You know, your band, a business, your own podcast, that sort of thing. All right, so this is the wrap-up of Darkness Weaves, Karl Edward Wagner's Kane novel, which coincidentally is the name of this collaboration that we're doing. So we're wrapping up this novel, and it's the last of the Kane novels. And we've got some additional short stories and a novella to do next. But sadly, this is the final Kane novel.
Yeah. At least the next thing we're covering is going to be the collaboration, the kind of where Kane meets Elric. So that's going to be pretty awesome. I've never read this story, The Gothic Touch.
Yeah, it's going to be great.
And then we have three kind of very forgotten modern day Kane stories. So it'll be interesting to see where Kane is at now. They kind of go from like, there's a couple and they're pretty short, and then there's a lengthy novella that will probably take 2 episodes. So
right on.
We got about 5 more for y'all. So we'll be closing this section, the Kane section, out in March, I think. So
right on.
But
So we're
yeah,
just about to get into a battle between Kane's forces and the Imperial Armada. From the last episode, we learned about the Scauriti, which are these inhuman creatures from beneath the sea that Ephraim have employed as a secret weapon against the Imperial forces. And just as a quick reminder, um, what they use to sort of guide the hand of the Scalriti and the Orecha are these talismans that are placed on Kane's forces' ships so that they don't get wiped out during the fights.
yeah, it's like and I think it sounds like it's kind of like putting out like maybe ultrasonic type of vibrations that they can so they can under they can kind of separate the two for the most part. At least when at least when the two forces are like actually like separated. But yeah, and Merrill is coming in with his gigantic armada. At the head of this gigantic armada that dwarfs Kane's 100 something ships. And Kane's basically going, well, I hope that the skill ready, you know, uh, are up to the task. Otherwise, we're gonna get wiped out. Basically,
Yeah,
is what he's thinking. You know what I mean?
yeah. So they're very much outnumbered, and but we find out that these inhuman destroyers are actually quite formidable. Um,
Yeah,
So yeah, so there's basically there's submarines which they break surface and or they destroy the armada basically.
yeah. They destroy a huge amount of the armada. They surface up and start blasting off like their energy cannon things, and they do this. The surprising thing for me is that the guys actually like Merrill's ship even gets clipped and he has to get to another one. Um, but another ship actually decides to ram one of them, and then they blow up. Like it gets just right into like kind of the porthole, and the ship and the Scoretti craft blow up in this giant like probably sound almost seems like a very small nuclear blast. You know what I mean,
Yeah,
going off and then the other Scoretti are like, okay, fuck this, we're
they
gonna
peace
just
out.
yeah. But so the guys come forward, but Kane's kind of heartened because it's now like pretty more equal. Like essentially, the Scoretti came and decimated like three-quarters of this armada, so there's only about they're about equal now. And part of that too is because Merrill did think smart and was like, all right, keep going faster. Like they're not gonna blast us when we get close to the rebels, which was true. However, another threat comes from under the sea, which are the Orchnia or whatever they're called, the
Oracha.
Aracia, yeah,
Yeah,
the kind of octopi squid things, and
yeah,
all of a sudden you see like tentacles come up and wrap around the ship and just pull it down, basically.
right. Yeah, so this is like the real secret weapon, and it's like very much this Lovecraftian sort of creature which comes and it takes over the battle.
It makes me think of what was that Jules Verne one?
20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, or
Yeah, yeah, that's what it makes me think of because
yeah,
they have like the giant squid in that one. That
yep.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, but you know the battle is joined, and it's a lot of bloodletting. Obviously, Kane is going two-handing. He's has his sword in one hand and the cutlass in the other. Or no, is it an axe? I forget which one he's carrying. I think he's carrying a sword in this one.
Yeah.
It's later he pulls out his two-handed axe he wields with one hand.
I know it's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's slaughtering. We do find a few kinks in the plan though that the Orchni or Orkinas, whatever they sometimes get confused which is enemy and which is not, like when the vibrations are too close to the other ships, so they end up like pulling down a rebel ship.
Yeah, they're
Which
not they're more like these kind of berserkers, and
yeah, it's definitely pretty chaotic. This sounds like a very, very chaotic ship fight. And here's something that I always think about when I read stuff like this, and I think about like naval warfare in the past. Um, why did people come up? How did people back in the day come up with the idea that, well, oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna be in the middle of the ocean. We're gonna row ships up to each other, and then we're gonna fight each other on a ship.
I know, right? It seems very like inefficient way to fight and very dangerous and a lot of chaos, a lot of like factors go into that.
And like the Vikings used to do that shit like on their longboats. They would roll up like to another ship on their longboat and plank on, and then like be fighting on like a long ship. Like there's like no space on that.
Yeah, it's perplexing to me, especially if you're shooting off cannons on a boat too. Doesn't that have like a force going in the opposite direction?
Yeah, like it's just pretty crazy. Like when you get up to like the era of like galleons and big, well, I guess even in the ancient days they had big ships like that, but just the idea that people used to fight on water like that just seems kind of nonsensical to me, because it's like, yeah, you're on a small little thing and you have to kill each other, um or you fall out or you get knocked off and you drown to death. It just seems very inefficient. Yeah.
Yeah, no, totally. So Kane, they gain the upper hand and the Imperials retreat, you know.
And now Meryl's and almost all the Imperials have gotten onto rebel ships that they've taken over, because
Yeah.
they kind of started to figure out what something was going on. So pretty much the entire 20 or so ships that escape are all rebel ships with Meryl at the head and Lages. And Kane lets them go. Uh and even though he knows Efrel's gonna be pissed off at him about it.
Yeah. Yeah. So now we're back with Efrel, and she's obviously disappointed because Meryl escaped, and Alramus is, if you remember, Alramus is used to be Efrel's like right-hand man and quote unquote romantic interest at one point, to a certain extent, and he's looking for any way to sort of diminish Cain in her eyes. So, he's criticizes Kane for not pursuing Meryl along the way.
Yeah, and Kane's like, it doesn't matter. We're gonna go and we're gonna crush their capital, and don't you worry, I'll have Meryl for you and McCory. And she's mad at him, but she kind of goes, okay, but you better do it this time.
Yeah. Yeah, she's very, very clear that Meryl and McCory would be taken alive and unharmed because she's got her own vengeance planned for both of them.
Yeah, and we get a hint of her plans for McCory, which of course I've been predicting. But she is like looking at her portrait, and then she's like caressing her ruined flesh, and she
Yeah.
starts like getting really, she's got tears in these eyes. Her tears in the eye that could still distill tears. And then she says, soon, April crooned herself, soon. So, yeah, he's giving hints.
Yeah. So, and you guys, just a reminder, Efrel used to be this like beautiful woman, and Meryl had her dragged through the streets and almost killed, but now she's like this maimed, disfigured shadow of herself.
Yeah, something we learned a little bit later is that she's like the same age as McCory.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this definitely didn't happen very long. Like we're imagining her as this like hag,
No.
but she's not. She's like a young woman in her, probably her like what, like 20, 22.
Yeah, somewhere in that
Yeah.
age, because
Yeah.
like McCory, I don't visualize her as being very, very old. She's definitely someone in her 20s, possibly.
Yeah. So, McCory's not, I mean, Efrel's not a old hag, but she's just like totally like fucked up from her treatment. So that leads me to definitely believe that this only takes place a couple years after all that went down. Um, but yeah, so the next part is the attack on Thav no Sten. Um, we've been reading this whole novel, and I just don't. I think that's the first time I've actually said that.
Yeah.
uh, which you know, be- they come up the they've attempted to kind of block off the harbor, and there's a bunch of people, everybody's come out to try to defend the city, but the skill readies also have basically freaking laser beams, you know what I mean? So they just
Yeah.
they
Well, the
block that
thing
shit
is,
down. Yeah.
yeah, the thing is though, is like their energy that powers those weaponry has been diminished from the last battle they had. So they're going to be more strategic about when they use their death rays.
Yeah, so they basically just use it on like part of the wall and then the gate. They blow the gate open. And
Yeah.
that's basically it. Um and I do like that they have kind of limits, I think that that makes more sense. It feels like they it's like some aspect of back when they came to Earth from outer space, they had this kind of access to these kind of under, these super uh super energy sources, but over time with their degradation, it seems like maybe they've kind of forgotten how to manufacture them, so they just have like a handful of ships that have like a set amount of energy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah. So now like Kane is leading a ground attack against Phobniston. So they go in there and there's like different assignments. So he directs ML to capture McCory, and then Kane is off on his own, trying to get Marrow.
Yeah, and eventually they Meryl finds him, and they engage in a battle. Kane with his two-handed axe in one hand and a cutlass in the other. Instead of a shield. Eventually, Meryl actually gets a hit on him and causes Kane to lose the grip on his cutlass, so he just has his axe. Uh, and basically, Kane at that point sees red. He goes into like bloodshed mode, and he just fucking murders the fuck out of Meryl. You know?
So there goes that plan of keeping him, taking him alive.
Yeah, and of course, Alramas breaks in just in time to see Kane murder, kill Meryl, cut Meryl
Yeah,
down.
yeah. So there's that. That guy's like ever vigilant to try to find something against Kane. He can use.
Yeah, and Arbas comes up and goes, "Oh, he's not going to be happy. Maybe we should get the fuck out of here." And Kane's like, "What? I'll talk to her."
I'll straight it out. Yeah.
And then he's like, let's go drink." So they go like down to join the looters, basically.
Yeah. So and then Emel captures McCory, and he's like, it's too bad, like I can't have you for myself, basically.
Yeah, yeah. That's what he's thinking.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, and Lages gets away. Was it? Did Kane and Lages have a sword fight
No,
too in this part? No,
no, he
right?
runs away into the hills, which I was kind of disappointed in that, right?
Yeah.
You'd think that he'd want to go and rescue McCory or protect her or something like that.
I think then like some of the other guys like stop him from going.
Yeah, but it's like you
Yeah.
would imagine that he'd want to like protect her.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think they get away. I can't remember if he has a sword fight with Kane in this part because he does later,
Yeah.
um but yeah, the essentially now Lages has like a group of Imperials. Kane brings McCory back to Pelin and basically gets his ass reamed by Efrol.
Yeah. And she's in a rage, still in a rage again because we only have McCory, but we don't have Marrow for her to torture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What one thing I just forgot at the end of the previous chapter was, and thus fell the Thavnosian Empire in ashes and blood at the hand of the man who had indirectly been responsible for its creation. I think that's just perfect Kane.
Yeah.
Like how much does that sum up so many of the experiences we see with Kane, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, the um Efrol is like such a rage that she's just like screeching basically.
Yeah.
And eventually, when she calms down, Kane goes, "Hey, look, like I gave you the Empire. You know, the guy is trying to fight, trying to kill me. It was between me and him, so I had to kill him. You know, like I've given you everything else you want. Um, trying to reason with her somewhat, right? And then even she goes, well, ML gave captured McCory for me, and he's like, well, there's a difference between getting a teenage girl and a man, blood crazed maniac with a sword, you know?
Yeah. So Kane has a plan, and he calls to Arbus to meet him to discuss this plan out at one of the local ale houses. So at this is when Kane sort of unleashes his idea of doing a coup d'etat, and taking over everything. And he also proposes an alliance with Lagis, thinking
Yeah,
that he could position him to be, a convenient ally in this whole thing.
yeah. Kane has come to that point where he goes, okay, Efrol's gonna kill me. I know she is, and later on he says something about how he doesn't really want to truck with like that kind of those types of ent demons and stuff. I think he's just saying that to what's his name. But I do get a feeling that Kane, to a certain extent, is tired of like sorcery shit at this point.
Yeah, I could see that.
He did that and he's been there, done that. He doesn't really have time to be like fucking around with like skill ready and stuff, like and also Kane is um I think Kane has a limited amount of patience to dealing with a crazy person, you know?
Yeah.
There's no way Kane would ever allow Efrol to live beyond her use to him.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that he probably always figured there'd be a time to like execute her at some point, get rid of her.
Yeah. So he gathers together all the forces loyal to him, which is all the mercenaries he hired and a bunch of other guys who see him as the leader, not Efrol. Basically all there are loyal Pelonites who are loyal to Efrol and her, her clan, but almost the entire rest of the army is Kane's for the most part, a pretty good amount of it.
Yeah.
But he kind of gathers them together. I think he leaves ML joins him. He leaves ML and Pelin to kind of gather together the resistance as he goes to basically track down Lages and make a deal with him,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yeah. So we cut back to Efrol and McCory, and she's kind of menacing her, and
Yeah.
she like has this like she basically like
She sexually assaults.
sexually assaults her.
Yeah, it's lesbian rape in the scene.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah.
Literally, you can't really
Yeah.
cut it two ways, and
No.
he kind of hints at what her plan is. We use sorcery to, switch bodies and that sort of thing.
Yeah. So essentially what I thought Efra was planning on soul swapping, kind of like in the thing on the doorstep,
Yeah.
the Lovecraft story.
Yeah.
So she wants McCory to be in her body, and then she can be in McCory's body. Um, and yeah, and then we get the alliance with Lages, and about 5 days later, Kane sails into Prizart with Lages and all the other guys dressed up as his own men, and um, and finds out that Efrol's been locked up, like doing magic with Macquarie. So he's like, well, that's good. Like she's not been paying attention, then it'll be easier to spring our trap, basically.
Yeah. And he tries to spin it to the men that Alramus is like plotting to take over the army.
He tries to spin it to the Pelonites,
Yeah, the Pelonites. Yeah, sorry,
but
not his men, obviously, but yeah, the Pelonites.
they don't believe that.
Yeah, they're like that doesn't make any sense to them at all.
Yeah. So then they get like into like a full scale fight with the Pelonites and at first their things are going well. They get into the Citadel and Um, is this? I think this is when Kane has this duel with Alramis and takes him out. Is around
Yeah, yeah.
around
So
this
Kane and
part.
Alramus clash, and he ends up cutting his head off.
Yeah, and Lagaze goes in like a crazy person trying to find McCory. But meantime, all this is going on, uh, essentially before the fight with Aramis goes in and discovers that Efrel has done her body swap with McCory, and he like unlocks her from the shackles that McCory was shackled to, and um, she brings him. She brings she kind of has. I think she has like McCory in her body, like kind of drugged behind her or whatever,
Yeah.
and she's walking around like naked as McCory.
Yeah, which I thought was funny that like Efrel's like so stoked to be in McCory's body that she's just naked the whole time.
Yeah, she's naked till the end, basically. From
Yeah.
yeah, and and uh and Lagaze ends up running into her,
And
and
she tells Laggies that Kane is like such a he tried to force himself on me and like it's he beat her and all these things basically lying to Laggies just to think him that Kane is being treacherous with him.
exactly, she cons him, and Lagaze takes it hook, line, and sinker, and then runs off like a dummy, and starts has his men start turning and fighting Kane's men.
Yeah. And this is
Um,
where ML and Laggies they have a fight and Laggies kills ML, which is one of Kane's right hand men here.
yeah, just the guy that kind of started it all off. He's the one who found Kane at the beginning of the book.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, and then we get a fight with um Laggies and Kane, and I believe uh
He wounds Laggies. Like he doesn't kill him, but
yeah, he doesn't,
yeah.
yeah, he doesn't kill him, but before he can, or somewhere at this point, is when McCory shows up and does her like petrify spell on everybody,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. She's probably gonna her design is to like have the skill ready come up through the black pool and like eat everyone basically.
Yeah, and then Lagaze was not petrified and figures out what's going on, that he's been duped, and he cuts her down basically, right?
Yeah. And but while he kills Efrel in McCory's body, she switches her body back to her original form. And then
Right.
McCory is back in her body, and she's just like, thanks Laggies for killing her, basically.
Yeah, and then in the seconds that the spell breaks, once she goes back in her own body, Kane then throws like a spear, basically, pulls up a spear from the ground and throws it and pins her to the fucking wall,
Yeah.
and in Efrel's body. Yeah,
And this is
and
when
then
we actually find out all the stuff we've been suspecting about Efrel and
yeah,
her true nature.
yeah, she starts transforming. Um, it's kind of funny. This reminds me of what we were talking about in Dunwich Horror,
Yep.
which people will hear in a couple weeks. But she starts like just shifting, weird, transforming thing, and tentacles start popping out, and she starts basically turning into like a skill ready, but a kind of weird skill ready abomination.
Yeah.
And then Kane throws like a lamp on her and sets her afire, I think.
Yeah. That's how he finally dispatches her that way.
Yeah.
So, she's her origin, like her father is actually one of these creatures, skill ready, basically from,
Yeah. The Pellenite, yeah, the Lord who pretended to be her father, there's the Lord of the Pellenites, mated her mother with a skill ready.
yeah, that goes all the way back to the first episode we did.
Yeah, and they talk about how he locked her into this tower, and then she went insane after gave birth to Ephraim and all this stuff, and um, so Ephraim was kind of like this aware beast, basically. Kane says, like who didn't really have control over it, but necessarily. Um, but that's why he could see her in the water earlier.
Hmm.
I think he knew that she was a werebeast the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah, ever since he saw her swimming in the water at one time. Um, but yeah, it's pretty gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, the story is pretty fucked up as you get into it. Yeah. Um, but here the downside is Kane has killed Ephraim now, but and killed Alormus and Lages dies, and but the Pelanates are in arms against him, and because Lages made a counter betrayal against Kane, now his men are too weak to have been yeah, they killed all the Imperials, but now they're too weak, so Kane and Arbas make a break for it basically,
Yeah.
and manage to get down to the big ship. You know.
Yeah. And Arbas is the last guy left out of this little crew that he had, so
Yeah.
they just basically sail off, and Kane is like offers to like, continue having adventures with Arbas, and he's like, you know what? I think I've had my fill.
He's like, I've noticed that people around you don't tend to live very long.
Yeah, exactly, right. He's like, I think I'm good. Like I'm gonna go back to whatever I was doing before all this.
Yeah, he's like, I think I'd rather just be an assassin.
Yeah.
And Kane's like, I'm gonna go to the southern lands. So I think this is set. That the weird thing is that I think that this book is set before Dark Crusade
It would
because
make
Dark
sense
Crusade is
because it
set in the
takes
southern
place in the
lands.
South. Yeah. So yeah, this takes place, yeah, definitely prior to that.
Another interesting thing that I learned that I figured out is that Reflections for the Winter of My Soul was written before Dark Crusade. So at the beginning, Reflections of the Winter of My Soul, he lays out the kind of Dark Crusade and all that stuff. He hadn't even written the novel yet, so that came out
Huh.
before. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the novel is technically a prequel to the story.
I wonder if he had this whole thing outlined out, you know what I mean? All these different aspects of Kane's life and, different, or if he just kind of went story by story, like maybe like that idea was something that he mentions and then he expanded on that, into Dark Crusade, or if he just, or this whole thing had like a overarching plan. Like it's hard to tell.
Maybe it was a little bit of both. I do think he probably had a kind of chronology of Kane, but in some way, because um the Nightwinds one that started off with Undertow and moved forward to Sunsetting, like
Yeah.
which is how the collection that we both have that you got me is set up. I think is set up in chronological order, and
Oh,
that's
okay.
yeah, because Undertow is the earliest story chronologically, but it wasn't the first one written. It was written kind of a little bit later. Actually, Darkness Weaves was one. The original version of the Darkness Weaves novel was one of the first Kane novels. It was one of the earliest Kane things. Period. So he wrote a Darkness Weaves in many shape colors or whatever, which was the full title of the original printing. Um, Around the same time he started writing Kane stories,
Oh,
but
wow.
then yeah,
Yeah.
it
I
was
think someone put together like a chronology of just like a not when it was written, like bibliography style, but like how the stories all intersect with each other. I think there's like a document somewhere online that shows all that stuff.
yeah. It'd be interesting to see that because yeah, it'd be interesting to see how things kind of line up. Because you kind of have to go based off of stuff in the stories. So the reason we know Undertow is the oldest is because it's set in Carsusial,
Yeah.
which in every other story is seen as like some ancient place. And then the beginning of Two Suns Setting is obviously the second chronologically because um it's he at the beginning of that novel he's had to flee Carsusial because they've turned against him for his sorceries. So those are the two earliest stories in chronologically, but from there it's kind of a matter of yeah, who knows? It's hard to say.
Yeah, I think someone put a timeline together somewhere. I'm pretty sure of that. I remember reading about that, but I haven't actually taken a look at it.
Yeah. The um what do you yeah, I have to take a look at that. It'd be cool. Eventually, I want to get all the novels and in hard formats. I need to probably just break down and order each one of the. I think what I'm probably gonna do is over a period of maybe a month or something, like each check order one of the novels. Because there's only three novels. I can kind of split it up because they're like $30 a piece or whatever. It's not too bad.
Yeah, they're not super expensive, you know.
Yeah. To get that collection that's like the companion to the short story one is can be pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's definitely pricey.
Yeah, unless you get lucky. Occasionally you can get lucky, but yeah, I'm gonna like and I need to do that because I really want to have hard copies of these. Because I've been really enjoying recently I've been rereading. I started from the beginning and I've been rereading all of the stories in the book. Um, I'm only a couple stories in now, but it's really it's nice to read them like not on Kindle.
Oh yeah, definitely with that horrible artwork. So I just saw on eBay Gods in Darkness. That's a novel collection. That's $247.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's pricey, man. It's definitely not, you know.
yeah.
Uh, I've seen it for cheaper though, honestly. Whoa, this one, The Midnight Sun, the complete stories, that's 550 on eBay.
Holy shit.
Yeah, dude, like I
Well,
said, I did not pay that amount, that kind of money for these things. I mean, I don't have the novel collection, but I have the actual individual novels, but I don't have that one volume.
yeah, yeah. Well, eBay sometimes people charge dumb amounts because but
Yeah.
the if I could find that novel collection for under 200,
Oh,
huh?
I just went, Jesus Christ. I just went to Amazon,
Uh-huh.
Gods in Darkness, $705.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's some new shit because I've seen it a few years ago for like 150 or something like that, which is still a lot of money, but like
Yeah,
it's
but
not
it's
700 bucks though.
like 150 is doable with like PayPal paying for installments or something like that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But
Yeah, 750 is like that's or 705 or whatever it was. It's like
I,
that's
I I'll never pay that
crazy.
much.
No, man.
Particularly because you can find the paperbacks for like $30 a piece.
Yeah, or less actually. In
Yeah.
my friend Morgan found them for like $10 or something like that at like a half off
Yeah,
like
if you get lucky.
bookstore. Yeah.
Um,
It's probably because of
I
our
was kind of bummed
darkness
because
weaves. Like it's probably because of our, we're bringing awareness to Kane, so it's probably
yeah,
why that's
yeah,
$700.
yeah. I was bummed because that vintage collectible fantasy sci-fi page on Instagram had a full set of all the novels, and he was willing to do it for like I think like $60 or something for
Wow.
all three, but I just didn't have the money right at the moment, and then it
Damn.
sold out. Yeah,
Yeah,
so it sucked.
that's a good price actually for all
Yeah,
three.
yeah. So,
Definitely.
but
Fucking A, dude. I remember buying, like I said, I got them in high school, dude. Like at at a bookstore, the book and record store in my hometown when I was a kid. And I was just like so happy that I found that shit.
yeah, it's unfortunate, dude. Like that stuff has gone up so much, and I keep hoping one of these days that I'll go to like some store or like a thrift store or something and find them. Um, the second Charleston, my house still has the Nightlands collection for like $20. I'm thinking I'm gonna pick that up just for my collection, even though I have all the stories. It'd be cool, still cool to have the paperback of Nightlands.
Yeah.
But like I really, I'm always hoping every time I hope that I go in there, I hope that maybe this time. But I just gotta order them.
We talk about this every episode, man, but it's just like someone really just needs to reprint or republish all this stuff.
Yeah, particularly if somebody could just reprint the collections, that'd be sick. Like
Yeah.
let's just put out those two volume set and uh, you know, um, so everybody can access Wagner. Let's put them out in paperback. Put
Yeah.
out affordable paperback. Trade paperback collections, and everybody can read Wagner again. I really want that to happen because I personally I love the Kane stuff. Like, it's pretty like perfect to me because it's like this combination of fantasy and horror, like dark fantasy and horror. Um, Set in this kind of like landscape that's often very nebulous in some way. Um, you can kind of like I said, you kind of have to figure stuff out for yourself. Which I really like that aspect to it. I do like that the collection has like a map that somebody's made. That's pretty cool. But oh, the only thing though that I just forgot. The reason actually this story has to take place Dark Crusade has to take place after Dark Crusade because Dark Crusade is set not in the Southern Lands, but in like the Western Lands.
Oh,
So
right.
at the start of when Efrol says something how like he calls them like Easterners or something like that.
Yeah.
That's because he came there from the Western Lands, which was where Dark Crusade was set and some of the other stuff. So never mind. But yeah, the Dark Crusade is set in the south of the Western Lands. So, um, but yeah, I don't know. For me, the whole tone and feeling, I love like how Wagner employs experimental writing, like modernist styles of writing throughout. He can, but he also will delve into the kind of like Tolkien-esque type of language.
Yeah.
Um, I just think that, and often it's very hard biting, very Robert E. Howard style writing. Uh, Great like fighting and battles, and to me, it's just like a really pretty perfect collection of stories and trilogy of novels.
Yeah, I think the next thing that I'm really excited about is that Daryl Schweitzer, We Are All Legends collection of dark fantasy stories. We at mine, I think we both
Yep.
ordered that, and we it showed up last week or this past week, and I read the Elsprig de Camp intro and sounds fascinating. It sounds like very much in line with the Wagner material, with the Kane material.
Yep. I finished the first story in it.
Yeah,
Um, that's pretty cool. Yeah, it sets up the whole thing. You know how his soul gets claimed by Satan and all that stuff. And Yeah, it's really cool. I'm really looking forward to getting deeper into it, and I want to get into more Dale Schweitzer. Looks like a bunch of his stuff's been reprinted.
yep,
I like that they've just stuck with the old designs too. So the paperback you can buy looks like a paperback from, like probably what the paperback looked like in the 70s.
yeah. No, I like that vintage look to it. You know,
I think I mean, he's younger than Wagner, but he was writing at the same time as Wagner. And the I like it a lot. It's I'm definitely looking forward to getting deeper. I want to check out more of his stuff. He's got so many different he's got a bunch of different dark fantasy characters. I started with this one because it's like attracted me because Sir Julian,
yeah.
is like a medieval knight who yeah, eventually I think he gets sucked into some type of like other worlds and stuff like that. So that
Well,
sounds awesome.
Schweitzer's still alive, and apparently he's still writing. And
Yeah.
he's a New Jersey guy, originally from Woodbury, New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah. And I like the idea of like he's like an immortal and cursed wanderer. It's just a perfect like you know
Yeah.
setup. And I definitely really want to check out some of his other stuff. The Where was it on? If you look on Amazon, he's got a bunch of different things. He's got the Mask of the Sorcerer, Echoes of the Goddess. That sounds pretty cool.
Well, there's a whole goddess series that he has. There's like a
Yeah,
series of that's like a character that he works with.
and then he's got some weird fiction stories, transients, and other disquieting stories, windows of the imagination, Tom O'Bedlin's Night Out. Um, yeah, I just want to delve into some of the stuff, but I definitely wanted to get into this one first because it's like the kind of sword sorcery one, you know?
Yeah, I picked up also on Kindle The White Isle, which is apparently his first. And
Okay.
yeah, that's like was like um sort of like a journey into the underworld. So that sounded really cool. And I just, I'm like, all right, cool, let me get this. It's a novel. So I'm gonna try to read that like fairly soon once I get through some of the stuff I have on deck right now.
Sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like unpublished until like almost 1990, apparently.
oh wow. Yeah, one thing I plan on getting pretty soon is I want to get volume one of Berserk, the manga.
Dude, I have that. I started reading it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot to
Oh,
tell you that. Yeah.
yeah, I want to get that. That is like one of the biggest influences I know on Miyazaki to get the main director behind like Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Demon Souls and all that stuff. And I've heard it's like huge influence and it looks sick as fuck. I want to check it out. I mean, you can get that volume one for like $30 on Amazon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not hard to find. I just got that and I just started reading it. Like it's really, really good. And I'm not a big manga reader, but it's actually really good.
Yeah, I'm not big on manga, but that one I want to check out partly because of the influence for Dark Souls, and then partly because it sounds sick. It sounds like a really sick like dark fantasy series where a lot of blood and demons and shit. You
Yeah,
know?
it's very nihilistic too.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. Well, I've heard I heard at the beginning scene in it is the guy's like fucking a demon chick, and then
Yep.
she transforms into a demon. He cuts her in half.
Yeah, that's literally the first two pages of the story. Yeah, it's pretty
That's wa-
soft, pretty sick.
that's wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's I think there's several volumes of this stuff, but I have the first one and started reading
Dude,
it a couple days ago.
Dude, there's tons of volumes. I mean, there's like
Yeah.
I don't even know how many there are. I can see up to 14 right here. Let's
Yeah.
see how many. Yeah, 14. There's 14 volumes of Berserk. So if you like it, you got plenty of reading because well, at least they're only. I mean, they're $30, but they're kind of like fake leather at like nice quality edition. So it's not too bad.
Yeah, I get like, a couple every few months, pick one up maybe or something. Um,
Exactly. Yeah.
so that real quick about back to Schweitzer, so that
Yeah.
there's the Shattered Goddess, which it's like a dying earth type of story.
Okay. So is it like a fantasy story in like a dying Earth?
I think
What's it
so.
like?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's like there's that science fiction fantasy Dying Earth series.
Uh-huh.
It's like I don't
Yeah,
know if
yeah.
it's pastiche, but it's like apparently similar to that.
Okay. The I never really read Dying Earth, to be honest. The Vance or whatever his name is.
Yeah,
What's his name?
Vance. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jack Vance. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really read
I recommend it, man.
yeah.
It's more of a fantasy stories. It's not really it's science fiction only loosely because it takes place in the future. And it has like there is like a science element, but it's like an arcane kind of science.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's definitely more fantasy than science fiction.
Okay, yeah. Because sometimes I'm not really big on like when it gets too like
Like
what's the
hard
word?
sci-fi.
Well, like when you're combining too much sci-fi and fantasy. In the sense that like I've never really been a fan of like stuff like I know people like there's that cyberpunk setting called Shadowrun, which is the D&D setting, or not, it's not D&D, but it's similar. But they got like dwarves and shit in like a cyberpunk
No,
world.
that's not what this is like at all. It's all
Yeah.
there are creatures in it, but it's not like elves and dwarves and humans. It's like mostly men or people, humans.
Right. I guess what I mean is just like I don't mind when it's dwarves and stuff, but I kind of find it hard when it gets too in the future. Like that's one thing with Warhammer. Like I like Warhammer, but I like more of the fantasy Warhammer than the kind of sci-fi Warhammer, if you know what I
Right.
mean. Yeah.
I mean, I haven't played Warhammer, so I'm not exactly sure, but
Well, I never played Warhammer either. I just like the setting.
oh,
There's a ton of Warhammer novels that are sick as fuck.
oh, cool.
Yeah. Like there's one called The Vampire Wars,
Oh shit.
which that's awesome, dude. If you want some really dark horror fantasy, yeah, check that out. Yeah, the Vampire Wars. Like that's all I read. It's like a collection of three books in Warhammer stuff, and is brutal as fuck. It's like really, really brutal.
That sounds like something I should check out.
Yeah, it's like gothic fantasy. So it's like gothic horror fantasy. So it's set in like the Warhammer fantasy setting, but there's like vampires and gothic horror stuff in it, and it's really dark and it's grimdark. I mean, Warhammer created grimdark. You know what I mean?
Vampire Wars, right?
Yeah,
Write it
and
down.
yeah, you can always wonder if it's on Am. Let me look if it's on Amazon. I want to pick up that Old Moon Quarterly. I want to check that shit out.
I
That
have the first issue of that. It's pretty good.
yeah, is it good?
Yeah. Hmm.
The it looks cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
I mean, I kind of like the supporting like modern short story, magazines. You know what I mean?
No, it's a totally.
Yeah, the Vampire Wars. Let's see. Uh, yeah, I've never played Warhammer. Because yeah, it's kind of expensive, I think. Um, but what is like a Steven Seville?
That's the guy's name, Steven Seville, the writer.
Yeah, I'm trying to look. It's like across the room, but yeah, I'm typing it in. Here we go. Yep, the Von Karnstein trilogy. I'll send it to you.
Oh yeah, I just found it actually.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is real. This is really, really good. Anybody who wants some dark horror fantasy shit for it's the deal. It's hard to find cool horror fantasy stuff of them. Do you know that the Empire of the Vampire trilogy?
Yeah, yeah,
Because you start
yeah, I read that. That was like a couple of years ago. Yep.
so book
I
two
actually
came.
I ended up finishing it. Yeah, it was great.
Was that?
Yeah,
Oh, you finished?
you
Yeah.
sent that
Book
to me
two
a
came
while
out,
ago. Yeah. Hmm.
and then book three comes out on November 4th.
Oh
So
shit. Okay.
soon the trilogy will be complete. I left off after when book two came out. I left off about halfway through, so I need to get back to it because now the trilogy's at final. Like in next month, I can. It'd be nice to just kind of bang it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. It was really good. I only read the first one. I didn't know the second one was out. And like I said, following my my protocol of just reading short fiction until the end of the month, I'll probably wait till next month or December to get into those.
Yeah. The second book is called Empire of the Damned, and then I think book three is Empire of the Dawn or something like that. So,
Right on.
but I actually think that the first book really, in a lot of ways, is a very good book in of itself. But it's cool seeing it develop. The book two starts getting more into the vampire culture and stuff, which is pretty interesting. I kind of like his ideas there.
Right on, man.
Um, and yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I want to. The other thing I'm planning on getting into in the next couple months is Steven Erickson's Malazan. Finally, I want to
Yeah.
delve in that shit. You know?
Yeah, man. I have the first novel just on Kindle. I want to see if I like it or not. And then I'm probably gonna bang out the rest of them at some point.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the initial series is like 10 books, so it's quite a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. It's a lot. It's a commitment for sure. I
Yeah,
know that I think Selden Hunt read all of those because I think we've spoken about it before. He actually is way heavier into like the epic fantasy, like dark fantasy stuff.
yeah, yeah. I want to get into it. I tried with the Kindle and not Kindle, the audiobook, and nowadays I just don't have to. I don't really have the time. I don't really sit around listening to audiobooks at home, right? So I
Yeah.
only really listened to them when I was working. So I was like, I want to. Since I didn't get very far, I'm just gonna pick up the paperback's like $8, so I got
Yeah.
that. So and I completed my Black Company omnibus collection.
Oh, right on.
I
Cool.
bought the final because there's four of those omnibuses. I finally got the volume four because it was like $10 on Amazon, so $12 I think, something like that.
Right on.
I'm like, eventually I'll work my way through the first volume. I get like that with weird thing where it's like if I start something, I want to have the entirety of it.
Yeah, no, I hear you, man. It's
Like
like I'm kind of the same way.
it bothers me like to buy, with Molison I have to kind of go with it because I'm like I don't even know if I like it yet, but I have
Yeah.
that initial urge to just buy all of it.
Yeah, not totally, dude.
You know what I mean? Like I did that with the Dark Tower. I bought all of the Dark Tower books and I've only read one of them. Like
The
it,
gunslinger.
I've only read the Gunslinger, but the Dark Tower ones they had them at used, so I got the used like the old illustrated edition paper
Oh
trades.
yeah, those are great.
Yeah. So I felt just like next I was like I want to get these because they're all the illustrated ones because I want to have all
Yeah.
those. The only one I don't have the illustrated trade of is the Gunslinger. That one's hard to find, but
I remember a
that's the
while
one I've read.
ago,
So I eventually, yeah.
I bought a box set of the Dark Tower series. I only read like half of them so far. I haven't read all of them yet.
Yeah, I remember we talked about that at one point. Yeah, you got the box set. Yeah, and
That was during the pandemic, you know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah, I had the intention. Yeah, for some reason my attention on it kind of waned pretty quick, but I need to get back to it. It seems cool.
Yeah, no, it is. It's like I can't read them in a row though, you know what I mean? I have to take I can't do like five books in a row. I have to like do one and then read something else and go back to, you know, because it's like it's cool, but it's not my favorite thing that Stephen King's done, honestly.
Yeah, it's not like so gripping you just power your way through,
Yeah.
which can happen. Like when I read Robert E. Jordan's Wing at Wheel of Time series, which is 14 novels. Um, that did take me a year, and I took like a few months off in the middle. I got about halfway through or a little over half. I got to like book nine, and I had to take a break for a couple of months, but I did finish it. But those ones, it, they started like they kept me going in it. You know what I mean? As I was reading it, so it wasn't such a big. I think that it all depends on the series. Like if they can keep you motivated to read it.
Yeah.
Because Stephen King, I think, sometimes struggles with that. To be like, here's something. I've never finished The Stand. Have you ever finished it?
Yeah, yeah, I read that like way many years ago. I read The Stand. That's a commitment to finish that book.
But did you read the full version? That's like over
Yeah,
1,000 pages.
yeah,
Okay,
that's the
cool.
one I have. I got that
Yeah,
hardcover actually.
yeah.
Yeah, it's a commitment, and
I've tried to
I
read that
read
book
it.
multiple times. I've never been able to get more than a. Yeah,
It was like
yeah,
when I was
yeah,
still in high school, I read it, and it was like summer reading or something like that. Like I read it over the summer, and it was like, you know, you're in high school, you don't got anything to do really. It's just Stephen. I was like, he was like my favorite author when I was like 16 or whatever, and you know, I'd read all of like, you know, Carrie and Salem's Lot and, you know, Christine, like all those books, you know, The Shining. And then when I got I was like, oh, I'm up for it. Oh, actually, the bass player in the band I played in at the time, he read it, the full version of it, of The
yeah.
Stand. And I'm like, oh, if he read it, I have to read it now. So then I read it. It was like, you know, it was like someone had already done it before, so I'm like, I have to do it now. So I was like really motivated to read like the 1,000 page version of it. It's fucking huge, man. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's like a commitment. Because like I would, you know, summer break, man. Just had all this time on my hands to read, so I just went for it.
Yeah, it's funny because there's some books that are like 1,000 pages that I've banged out no problem, like some of the Game of Thrones books.
Yeah,
Where with The Stand, for some reason I always get bogged down about halfway through. Usually because I think the beginning of it's amazing. Like it's really, really gripping. The beginning of the plague spreading and all that kind of stuff is sick.
yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
so good. And then he starts introducing more and more characters. You know, I started getting to a point where I was kind of like, every time the last time I read it, I got to the point where I was just like, yeah, it's been years though. I have the illustrated trade of it, and I have the intention of reading it at some point. I know it's one of my goals is to actually read The Stand because but I actually think that's the same with you remember the old miniseries from the 90s. The first two episodes of the miniseries are the best, you know.
I have never seen the miniseries, believe it or not.
Look at that first one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
You never saw the miniseries?
Nope,
Really? Oh,
never.
wow.
I just don't, you know what it is in the 90s? It's like I didn't really have television all through the 90s.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Like and it was like, yeah, I had like a VHS player and a TV and then like one channel or something like that. And then, we never had cable in any of the places I lived. And it was just like, and then I had a DVD player and it's just one of those things. Stuff in the 90s that came out on TV kind of went right by me, really. Like even Twin Peaks. Like I didn't watch Twin
Hmm.
Peaks until I was able to rent it on VHS,
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah, I feel that.
I just never had a television really I know that sounds weird, but it's true.
Well, I had ever since I moved out on my own, I've never had cable my entire life. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had TVs, but I never had cable. But yeah, the Stan TV show, I like it. The one that Mick Garris directed.
Okay.
I think it's good. Particularly the first two episodes are really sick. Particularly that first one, like it's really good for a 90s TV miniseries. Like, and I do have nostalgia for it because my dad and I watched it when it was on TV, when I was a kid. But at the same time, the last time I rewatched it was on Netflix, and Max and I watched the whole thing. And yeah, I felt like it does get bogged even in the movie miniseries. It's just part of the story. It gets bogged down after a little while, but it's still worth watching. I think Gary
Yeah. Gary Sinise is in it.
Sinise is really good in it. And it's got a lot of great people in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I just it's not I think I would like it. I just one of the, like I said, just there's movies that I just never even like Mike and I just did Trick or Treat, that movie from the 80s, right?
Right.
Never saw it first time.
Yeah.
And that's like something that makes complete sense that I would have watched, but I just never did until just, a couple days ago, really.
I should see if the stand is streaming. Like it'd be good. It'd be a good one to watch for Halloween season.
I know, man. It's like I love Salem's Lot. I love the miniseries for Salem's Lot and The Stand, you know, it's like on the fringes of my awareness of TV shows to watch. And it's just like, I really do plan on watching it at some point. Maybe now's the right time.
I guess you have to rent it on Amazon.
Ah, see that now they
$50.
fucking yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
Yeah. They did just reissue like a Blu-ray of it recently or something.
Huh,
Yeah,
that might be
like very very recently.
yeah.
Uh, for the first time, it was never on Blu-ray. It was only on DVD for until like last year. Yeah, last
It's funny how that
year because it was like
happens.
the 30th anniversary set. They put out a 30th anniversary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny
and
how
it's
that
the same.
happens, man.
Yeah, it was the same for the Shining miniseries that McGarris did. They just put that out on Blu-ray like last year as well.
Once again, I never saw the McGarris Shining either, man.
I liked it. My friend and I covered both the Shining movies, and
Yep.
we did focus on the miniseries because no one ever talks about it. Because everyone knows how great the original movie is, right? But we kind of focused on the miniseries in that, and I actually, particularly because I had just read the book, literally like uh for that episode, I had listened to the audiobook of the book, so it was pretty fresh in my mind. The miniseries is much closer to the book.
Okay.
The only thing that people make fun of it is that they tried to do the the animals,
Yeah.
the what do you call it? The landscape, like the bush animals or whatever that
Right. Hmm.
which are creepy in the story, but when they do it with kind of cruddy 90s CGI, it doesn't look so good.
Oh, I can imagine. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but people seem to mock and jeer it just for that one
Yeah.
like a couple like there's like two scenes where the CGI isn't that great, but I think that overall, I think it's a really good version of The Shining. It's a good version. It's a better version of the novel.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily a better movie than obviously than Kubrick's, but it is a better adaptation of the novel. If you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So
totally. So that's another one on my list too. The Shining, Mick Garris version, and then The Stand. Like just escaped me all these years, but now is probably the good time to like get into it though.
yeah, dude. And the cool thing with the Shining miniseries, it was filmed here at the Stanley Hotel,
Oh shit.
where Stephen King came up with the whole thing. So
Yeah.
it's pretty sick. I remember when it was being filmed here too. It was like a big deal. Obviously, like people in Colorado are pretty big to have a Stephen King miniseries being filmed here.
Yeah, totally, man.
Although
Absolutely.
they, although they did film part of The Stand in Boulder, I think, and uh, and uh, part of The Shining. Obviously, the original movie, they did some exteriors in Boulder, but they didn't actually film here. They just send a team out to shoot some exteriors, right? But it's pretty cool. Yeah, dude. I definitely recommend it. Give Mick Garris some love there.
All right, man. Cool. Well, that's it, guys. That's a wrap up for the Darkness Weaves novel. And next month, we'll be getting into these last few short stories.
Yeah, we'll be doing a gothic touch, and unfortunately for anybody who's reading along, uh, you're gonna have to have the Midnight Suns collection to read all these. So unless you can track down somewhere, I think I did track down like a weird like browser version of a gothic touch that I was planning on reading, but now I don't have to do that. So
Yeah, no, it's better to have it in the book.
yeah,
Yeah,
so but yeah, looking forward to it, and hope everybody enjoys this episode, and then enjoys our episodes about Lovecraft and how week of Halloween, and
yeah, man. Thanks for
episode about
listening.
the new tombs. So
Yeah,
thank you.
thanks for listening, everyone.